name's Christina and you're watching Proud Book Lion, and yes, I am not that great. I have a cold and I'm feeling pretty... I'm not even sure what I'm feeling. I have a headache, my eyes hurt, the snow is blinding me, and I have so much homework. Or not homework, I have like tests, and my motivation is at 0. So that's why I'm doing a tag today, because I was actually tagged by the lovely Gabriella, or Gabby. I'll leave her channel down below. I love you so much, Gabby, and thank you so much for tagging me. It's the books and reading tag, and it was originally created by, the name is eluding me, by a lovely human whose name has eluded me, and I'll leave their original video down below as well. But yeah, I believe it's 10 questions, so let's get into those. So question number 1 is, where do you buy your books? Online, bookstore? I try not to buy books, but when I do buy books, I buy them online via a Swedish webpage, like company, called Adlibris. And if you live within Scandinavia, you can buy your books there. I can actually leave it in the description down below. It's very cheap, and it's not very cheap, but it's cheap. And in Sweden we have like books tax reduced, so we do have tax on books, but like clothes we have 25% tax, but on books we only have 12.5, I believe. So it's not that bad. And shipping is free when you buy books that cost over 100. And literally 99% of all the books cost over 100. So it's almost always free shipping, and it usually only takes about like 1 or 2 weeks, which is fine. Else I borrow books from the library. Usually my school library, as they have the best library ever. I asked for a book that came out this past January, and like they bought it for me, and I'm getting it in 2 weeks. So my library and librarians in school, they are really kind. So I try to use my library as much as possible. Like when I need books ASAP that are literally just new releases, I usually have to buy them on Adlibris, which I do. The second question is, do you buy your books or check them out from your library? And as I said, I do a mix of both. I try to use my library as much as possible, but some books my library does not have, or they don't have the possibility to acquire within the time that I need books, so I have to buy them myself. And it works fine. I think I'm like 50-50 right now or something like that, which is pretty amazing to be me. I actually think I've read more library books than I read books that I own this year, so that's a good thing. Third question is, do you like reading series or standalones? I think I prefer standalones if I get a conclusion that I appreciate. I personally prefer reading contemporary, like coming of age stories, and they usually are standalones, or I prefer reading mystery and thriller YA books, and they are usually standalones as well. So I think I prefer standalones just by default, because those are the genres that I go for. However, I do really like reading series like the Shadowhunter Chronicles, just because we get to follow these characters for an extended time period and see them truly grow and truly evolve and truly change. And yeah, that makes me really happy. But yeah, I think series actually, but usually I read more standalones, if that makes sense. Like, I want my mental illness stories to be series, please. Fourth question is, where do you read? Do you have a special go-to place? No, just because currently I'm living quite a busy life, so I work 5 days a week, I go to school 5 days a week, and I'm starting pole this upcoming Monday, so then I won't be home that evening either. So I usually read on the bus, when I walk my dog, when I'm waiting for classes to begin, sometimes sometimes during classes. Yeah, I just read wherever I am, whenever I have the possibility to read, if that makes sense. So yeah, I don't really have a go-to place. Like, I love reading in my bed, and I usually try to read at least 1 or 2 pages before I go to sleep. But there are very few days that I'm able to like lie in bed and read all day, or like even lie on the sofa and read. Like those like quarters that I get to do that, glorious. Oh, and when I'm at my grandparents, I can just like read all day in my bed or in their bed and in their sofa, and it's marvelous. I just love it so much. Question number 5 is, do you like to listen to music while you read? No, I don't even like to listen to music as it is. I sometimes listen to music when I need to stay awake, like when I'm trying to study, or when I need something to keep me awake and alert. So like the few times, I very rarely go out and run, but when I run, I need to listen to music, because then I can't listen to podcasts. But if I'm just walking, I prefer to listen to podcasts if I want to listen to something. I can't listen to audiobooks though, because I'm not sure, I just don't get into them, but I prefer podcasts. And I can't really listen to podcasts while I read, so no, I do not listen to music while I read. Sorry about my voice. Number 6 is, what genre do you reach to the most? I'm not sure if mental illness contemporary or contemporary incorporated with mental illness is a genre, but I usually reach for books that happen to be contemporary, as they include either a character that is mentally ill or is part of the LGBTQIP plus community. Like, yeah, I just like reading about characters that are like bisexual or that have mental illnesses. I like to learn and I like to understand people, and I like to read books by marginalized authors about marginalized characters, and they usually happen to be contemporary because that's like the only genre where those things are for now accepted, so it tends to be contemporary. Although, like, Before I Let It Go, I think that's a YA thriller mystery, and I love those books, and it actually had both mental illness and queer representation, so things are looking good for the future. So maybe my favorite genre will be something else in the future, but for now it's contemporary. Number 7 is, what genre do you tend to stay away from? I have a really hard time with high fantasy, and I usually do not read high fantasy nor sci-fi. I personally can't get into them. I personally get quite bored, and if you like them and love them, that's great, but I just don't like high fantasy nor sci-fi that much. Sci-fi is better than high fantasy actually, but yeah, none of those. Question number 8 is, what would you like to read more of? Memoirs, and like autobiographies, and adult fiction, because as I'm part of so many readathons, I usually read those books, and I like need to prioritize those books, and they tend to be YA. So I mean, I'd love to read more adult fiction and like biographies and memoirs, because I really enjoy those books whenever I have read them, and I just want to get back into them. But currently with my life schedule, that might not be very likely, or like it's not that likely to happen right now. However, I'm probably quitting one of my jobs after my contract is up, which is in March, so perhaps after that. But yeah, we'll see. But memoirs, autobiographies, and just like adult fiction is something I'd love to read more of. Can I show you 9? Question number 9, I can count, is, do you read the book before seeing the movie? I'm a bad reader and I don't, or I try to do, but sometimes I don't. Like, I've read Simon versus the Homo sapiens agenda, but I read it in January because I'm watching the movie hopefully in March. I'm trying to force my friend to go with me. In that instance, I am reading the book before I'm watching the movie, but like, I've watched movies that I haven't even read the book still. For example, I have not read the book for... Why do I only think of the Swedish title now? I have not read The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. I watched that movie like 2 times one time. Like 50 Shades of Grey I watched. I have not read that book. I'm not planning on reading it either. Nor The Fault in Our Stars actually. Then we have books that I've like done semi versions, or like I watched The Hunger Games and Catching Fire before reading the books, and then I read the books, and I have yet to watch Mockingjay movies. I'm planning on doing that, so then I'll have read Mockingjay before watching it. Yeah, and same with Harry Potter. I watched them before even like reading the series. I read the series in like 2015. I watched the movies as they came out from about like the 4th movie or something like that. So yeah, if we're looking at my track history, the only book that I like succeeded with reading before watching is like, let me see, Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. I read that book before watching the movie. Yeah, that's basically the only one. So I tend to watch the movie before I read a book, if I even read a book. Like, I watched Carrie and then I read a book, so there's a possibility. But yeah, I tend to watch movies before I read the books, if I happen to watch the movie. I typically, generally don't watch that much of movies. Sorry. The last question is, what is your favorite book to movie adaptation? Jesus, I'm so sorry for all of you dealing with my voice and the way I look. This is called sick face. But my favorite book to movie adaptation. Ooh, I found out another movie that I saw after reading the book. It is probably one of my favorite adaptations, and it like got me into booktube. The Book Thief! Oh my god, I love that movie, and I love that book so much. I think that's my favorite adaptation actually, just because it just, yeah, it's great, and I love it, and yeah, I really just appreciate that book and movie, and for all that it stands for. Like, cinematically, it's probably not as great as Catching Fire is, but like, to me personally, it is. So I would say The Book Thief. But yeah, those were all the questions. I am sorry about my appearance and the way I talk and everything. I hope that you are doing so much better. I guess I'm supposed to tag people, so I'm tagging A Book Lover's Life. Is that correct? I believe it's correct. I'll leave her channel down below. You're so cute. I'm also tagging Jillian from The Green Reader, and I'm tagging Maddie from Maddie Reads. If you're still making videos, kind of. If you want to do this tag, you do this tag, Maddie. And if you're not tagged and you want to do this great tag, I think you should do this tag. I also think that you should prioritize your physical and mental health. I need to prioritize at least my physical health because, jeez, I'm a wreck. But yeah, I'm going to go, and I'm actually going to go outside with my dog. Jeez, wow, look at that, prioritizing your health. And then I'm going to eat. That's prioritizing your health. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Your support means the most to me, and I hope you have a great day / night / whatever part is for you. Bye!